Let's do it.
Okay.
Just in time.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. We are facing a lot of issues today. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's start. So hello everyone. Thank you for taking your time out on this Saturday morning to join us on the second part of the AI Fundamental Crash Course series. And I'm thrilled to welcome you on behalf of IIT SoCal chapter. First of all, a big thank you for Smita and Parag for taking time out of their busy schedule to create something to educate all of us about AI. Now, this event is presented by IIT Alumni Association of Southern California, which is a community of 3,000 plus IIT alumni across 23 IITs, and we are growing exponentially. We have had a terrific 2025 so far, with highlights like, three-part startup series by Shashi Tripathi, a deep dive into DeepSeek's impact on tech, a masterclass on valuation by our own Abhi Mukherjee and Ravi Bhagwan, and also a great day at the picnic. And time has flown by, and we are not slowing down. We are back again after a long hiatus, for sure. But there are more exciting events lined up for all of us. The biggest spotlight goes to the biggest event that is going to happen next year, which is IIT 2026. It's the Global Pan IIT Conference, which is happening right here in Long Beach, California. So save the date. It's happening in April 2020, April 22 to 25, 2026. And you will see, and it's going to be unforgettable because we have amazing panels and amazing lineup of speakers like Guy Kawasaki, Chamath Palihapitiya, and many more. So they're like, we are adding speakers, we are adding entertainment and new workshops every single day. So please go to iit2026.org to book your tickets today. And for the next upcoming events, on October 26th, we are gonna have a Diwali celebration party at Irvine. So please join us for a very chill and enjoyable evening full of music, dance, and chatter. And as we talked that, this AI crash course is a series of 3 events, this being the second one. The next one is going to be an AI app building workshop somewhere between mid-October, and where Kaushal Mishra, who is an ex-CTO of Microsoft, is going to teach us how to build an app from scratch completely using just AI tools. And you can scan the QR code, or you can go to our website to sign up for these events. And one thing for sure, Diwali celebration party tickets are limited. So we would request everybody to, book them before they are gone. They are limited. And definitely, please stay connected with us using with our LinkedIn and WhatsApp group. Please scan this QR codes to stay connected on LinkedIn and WhatsApp. Join our WhatsApp group. There is a huge community out there. We discuss everything from general topics, AI, jobs, everything. And it's a great way to stay to connect and be part of something meaningful. Now, coming back to this particular event, there are going to be some quick, let's go over some quick house rules. So this webinar is being recorded, and it will be available really soon on IIT's Alumni SoCal's YouTube channel. And so you miss anything, don't worry. But for benefit of all of us, we request everybody to please stay muted and please turn off your cameras until and unless requested. And please use the Q&A section or the chat section to send us the questions, and the speakers will answer your questions either during the flow or after the sessions according to their time. And if your questions are unanswered, there are two ways that it can be answered. First is either by email, and second, we have launched a generative AI forum on our website, so you can sign up over there and post questions over there, and like the speakers as well as the other community members could go there and answer your questions. Now, coming back to the events, let's just have a short introduction about our both speakers. So first is Parag Havaldar. He's an Oscar-winning technologist and innovator in computer vision and machine learning. He has over 25 years of experience driving groundbreaking R&D at Blizzard Entertainment, and he's also a lecturer at USC. He's a true pioneer in performance capture and AI-driven animation. Parag blends deep academic insights with real-world impact, a rare combination unseen. So welcome, Parag. And the next one is Smita Wagla. She's a managing partner at Amrit Ventures, a visionary business leader and a startup strategist with over 20 plus years of experience scaling tech, media, and healthcare ventures. She is also a guest instructor in Season Pepperdine. She brings a rare fusion of Silicon Valley savvy and global perspective, and she has a proven track record in accelerating innovation and helping companies scale everything. Helping companies scale using all of these innovative technologies in a very clear and concise manner. She's a powerhouse in empathy, insight, and execution. So, welcome, Smita. And with that, let's get ready to dive into our today's masterclass. So, over to you, Smita and Parag.
So we are unmuted. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dhaneshri. That was an awesome introduction. Make us shine up. It's hard to keep up to that, but we love it. So everyone, today, I think a lot. Parag and I will start talking to you. The objective is to how to use the LLMs across text, image, video, and multimodal, as well as to do fun things, as well as to use it for your work, for your business, and treat it as your assistant. And then Parag is also going to take us through how to train, how do these LLMs get trained. So hang on to your seats and we'll start. Parag, do you have anything else to say right now about the agenda today? Muted.
No, it's perfect. Thank you for everything, the introduction, and welcome. It seems like a nice, small, informal group, so it should be a very cozy Q&A and description going on. As Smita said, we'll start with like some practical examples of how all these generative tools can be used. Then we can go into some little bit of technical, but an understanding of how training occurs. If it's something that you've never seen done, it'll be helpful. If it's something that you've already been part of in your profession, maybe you can add some more perspective to help everyone in the audience. And then we can go into some newer tools that are coming out in generative video, and I can share a bit of that. But yeah, let's get on with the meeting.
Okay, great. So anybody has any specific requests before we go on? And please use the chat to write down your questions. And unless it is something that is you need right away, we'll address it in the Q&A session at the end. But if there is something that you need right away or you're not understanding, then feel free to interrupt us because it's supposed to be an interactive session. So Parag and I discussed, and we were thinking that we could try and see the comparisons between ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. And the free versions of these tools are available. So if all of you want to put it on your laptops also, open those up. ChatGPT is chatgpt.com, and Claude is, so you can go and look for it. Claude is claude.ai, and Google Gemini would be gemini.google.com. You need a couple of minutes to open these up. Okay, well, no response. I think people have to open up. What is cloud spelling? Claude, C-L-A-U-D. Here, C-L-A-U-D-E. Okay, so I think I'll just put these things in.
Probably it will be helpful for them to know it's like Anthropic Cloud and kind of connect who is providing what kind of platform, like OpenAI providing ChatGPT, similarly Anthropic Cloud. It will make their search easier.
Okay, why don't you share it, Abhiju? Because this is, we all know how to use it. So if you want to share that, welcome it. Mhm. Okay, I could, okay, so ChatGPT.com has been provided by OpenAI, and that has been extremely popular, and most people use ChatGPT. That is what Abhi was asking us to explain. So Rup Goel is asking, should we get the app or just the web browser? Web browser. Yeah, web browser should work. Then Claude is provided by Anthropic, and Gemini is a Google version of their LLM, and it also, other than just when you go to Google and you do the search, it's powered by Gemini. But if you go to gemini.google.com, you can do similar things that you can do with ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. But these three are very, very used specifically for different purposes because they have different strengths. So ChatGPT, it can basically do a lot of like summarization, explain to you, help you write emails. It's very tech savvy, and it also has image built in so that you can start using it to generate some images. Then there are other applications also like Microsoft Copilot and there are just so many. Llama from Meta. And Parag, do you want to add others that we have? Mistral?
The Gemini, there is Llama, there is Claude, ChatGPT. Those are the standard ones.
Yeah. And so there is Mistral, like
Grok.
Abhi Mukherjee just posted. There are other models also. We covered that in the last session that we had. What are the different ones and which are the common ones? Perplexity is the one that is an Indian CEO, and he had provided Perplexity, but it is built on another LLM. And then Grok, everybody has heard about as to what craziness it goes through. And so thanks, Abhi, for providing on that. And then thanks, Priyank, for adding to it. So and Claude is more into like it goes a little bit more in terms of analyzing as well as do logical stuff and Python and stuff. So as we go along, you will see that. So let me share my screen and see if we can do some basic prompts with Claude with ChatGPT. Is that good? Okay. So let me share my screen. Sharing some first. I'm not able to share my screen.
I just allowed it. Can you just check?
Okay. Okay. Can you see it? Okay. Thank you. Can everyone see it? It says I'm sharing my screen.
Yes.
So how about like a fun thing we could do with ChatGPT? Right now it's Saturday morning and we want to have some fun. We want to watch a movie with our young teenager, like a 14-year-old on Saturday afternoon, but a movie that is good for parents as well as teen watching. And we would also want, it's not like very violent or something. So let's put a prompt for that. Like, so I say it is Saturday afternoon and I'm looking to watch a movie with my 14-year-old. It can be comedy, action, or thriller and provide a 3 to 5 sentence summary on each with its rating. Now, what I'm doing here, so basically each of the prompts, what is prompt engine? This is a prompt that we are giving to these LLMs. And what is prompt engineering? Prompt is the guideline, and engineering is an iterative process of creating something. Okay, so creating the task, creating the product. So once we give it a prompt, then we iterate to give it more and more in order to see what is a good prompt. Okay, so here we have, so we go from an idea to a prompt as to what we want to do, and then we provide it with some specifics, and then we get the results. And then if we don't get the results that we want, then we test it by iterating again. Okay, so those are the basic parts. And the prompts usually have two types of structures, and that is one is the parameters, and then the other part is the structure. So the parameters are basically like I'm saying that I gave it the context, like it's Saturday afternoon, I'm looking to watch a movie. And the parameters here are comedy, action, thriller, and the task I'm saying is provide a 3 to 5 sentence summary and each with its rating. Okay, so let's see what it gives us. And this is, again, ChatGPT from OpenAI has different versions. This is the latest version, Code 5. And you can choose which one do you want. You want instant answers, you can want it to think and give better answers, or you can use one of the legacy models, that's ChatGPT 4.0. Okay, so let's go into it and see what does it provide me. So these, it's saying that, and it did provide me with comedy yesterday, like, Spider-Man with a little bit of like, and it's also giving me which year, and then it's also giving a PG rating for it because I said 14 years. So PG-13 is there. And then it's asking, do you want me to suggest a couple of newer movies in case you haven't seen these? And I could just say yes, right? And it will provide me with some more answers. And this is a very basic one. So this is what we provided. We asked ChatGPT. Now we go to say Claude, and I want to do the same thing. Okay, and see what it says. So pretty much it's giving you the same answers, right? But it's also dividing it up in comedy, action, thriller, quiet place. Now this is a much longer list because I did not specify that I wanted a list of 5 movies or 4 movies. So the more specific you are, the better it provides. Okay. Parag, would you like to add anything more to it right now?
Go on.
Okay. Anybody? And then the next one is Gemini, Google Gemini. And let me just put this one too here and see what it provides. It only gave me one each, but the movie recommendations are very different. But the user interface is very easy to use. It's very similar to them. And you could load up other applications here too, the other LLMs, and you could try it in there. Okay. So now how do you want me to change it? Do you guys want to try some of the questions on your own? Like on your own, can you type something like this and see what do you get? Please share. Are you guys okay? Somebody tell me okay to go ahead and do. Have you guys tried it already, or do you want me to continue? This is the basic setup start, right? Okay. Okay, so then with ChatGPT, we did something like this. So we got some of the newer movies from it, like, the 2025, 2024 movies that we are seeing. Now, how would you want to make it better? Like, suppose we want to do, so this is like text-based thing. Suppose you want to do a summarizing of a document. You pick it up like a movie. Give me the summary of one of the books. So give me the summary. The right now I just read Coded Justice by Stacey Abraham. And it corrects your of the book. And but I'm saying give me the summary, but I haven't given a detailed this like as to how many pages. Give me like a 20-sentence summary. Okay. 20-sentence summary of the book Coded Justice by Stacey Abrams. And see. So it's also summarizing. We could do it. So it gives me what exactly is happening. This Coded Justice is a book basically about AI and how AI is becoming so popular in the current world, and we are, and it's taking over, but it's really in the end it finds out. But I won't give you the plot. So you should find out as to how to basically use it as an assistant and keep it so that you can want to use it on your own. Any questions? So it gave me a 20-sentence summary here. So GPT is very good at it. And suppose I want to go to Claude and I say, explain the Great Gatsby movie book in simple language for high schoolers. Okay. So Priya came up with a very interesting answer. So right now you see that it gave a simple summary. Now I think we can also ask AI is how to use AI tools in how to use AI LLM tools effectively. Okay. So it gives you the list here, right? Use iteration, be clear and structured in prompts. Use iteration, not one shot, like one after the other. Lead to the strengths. LLMs are great at drafting, brainstorming, explaining, verify and cross-check, leverage multimodal. So like a multimodal basically means it's text, image, code, and audio video. Okay. So let's see. I was playing with them. Let's try something about an image. So what I did is I said, so this is my image of what I was playing with this morning. That give me a superhero image of make me a superhero whose motivation is that I can read minds and telepathically help people to do good things. My costume is an office skirt and coat suit, glasses and heels with a blue blazer. My name is Mind Reader, and my origin was that it was depressed by people doing bad things to each other and got struck by electric charge in an elevator. And she attached picture for inspiration. So I gave it a little bit more. So I took one of these, and then it provided me with this picture, right? And this was Google Gemini. And then I said, use the following image instead. So it says, thank you. And what it did is it took a similar picture, but it took my necklace from there and added it. So it incorporated it in the design. So this kind of an image generation you can do. However, if I did the same thing with Claude, what it did and gave it exactly the same, it said, I'll create a superhero image, and what it provided me is professional heroes, but it gave me a caricature of mine. It didn't give me an image. and it said my origin story is the elevator awakening. So it provided a very of different kind of background and output, and I can combine both of them in order to make it better for for use. And you can and it says my motto also it wrote every mind has a potential for good. I simply help them remember. And when I did that in Chat GPT, what it did was I said the same things it created, but I didn't give it the colors, right? And then I said make it pastel, and it gave me this. So everyone is giving a different one. So let's do some fun. Do you guys want to do some fun exercise on this? Please share in chat if somebody wants to give a prompt that we could all try.
I think everybody wants to listen.
Okay, so I think now you see how you can create images, leverage images in these three tools. And let's first go to video with Parag and see how to generate those. Parag, would you take over now? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Smita. So I think we've been using all these LLMs and generative AI tools for a long time. Um, Smita just showed you how to, use them. I mean, start with some of them and use them effectively for doing a bunch of things. One of the things that, since we are from, engineers at heart, just using tools is not satisfactory enough. We need to probably understand a little bit of how they work and how they've been set up, how they've been trained. So talking to a few people, I thought it was a good idea that, maybe we could do a little bit of training or explain how training occurs on creating some of these tools. And there's how generative tools are set up today and trained today. It's really very, very complex and with lots and lots of data and lots of networks. But the core idea is, how do you get data for it? Do you use data the way it is, or do you have to pre-custom it or customize it in some manner to be able to set it up for training? How do you design a network that needs to be trained? In general, you want to make sure that it has enough of a dimensionality so that you can capture all the entropy of the information that needs to be represented. Lots of words in there, but basically you want to have it sophisticated enough to be providing good results. And the most important thing is, when you have all these networks set up, training is a very simple process. But the most expensive thing, or the most thing that needs a lot of thought and analysis, is designing a loss function. Loss functions are the evaluators of the difference between what the model is predicting and what the correct answer is. And the goal is, through a process of backward propagation, you want to make sure that the predictions are getting better and better to the answer, so that the loss functions errors are getting smaller and smaller. So in that context, what is an example that we can show you, simple enough, that's workable enough, that you can understand all the basic things that go towards a training session. So one of the things I thought would be in the land of images was a practical application today, where you can show a picture of some text or show a picture of uh, uh, numbers and text. That, like, you can take a picture of your check that you want to deposit. It figures out what the numbers are and what your account numbers are, and automatically make sure that everything gets deposited or is set to deposit in the right accounts. But this fact of how do you take an image and understand what numbers these are? This is one of the first uh, setups or algorithms that was solved by a neural network back in the early 2000s. And it's probably one of the most interesting ones, because before that, when you try to solve a problem using imperative programming, figuring out what features are there, lines, curves, what number it is, it's a very daunting process, or in lots of combinatorics. So let me share my screen and start with showing you some Python environment and a Python code base. This is the MNIST training data set. It's not my code, it's just code available on the net. I think it was first designed, or the prototype first was done by Jan LeCun, who is the chief scientist at Facebook. This was back in his training days in the early 2000s. So here, in a Python interpreter, after I've imported TensorFlow, for all these training purposes and neural network definitions, there are two main environments. There's TensorFlow and Keras, which is by Google, or there's PyTorch, which is by Facebook. Both are open source. You can download them and start using them. So here's an example where, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
So this is the MNIST data set of images and their labels. So let me get the images. And if you look at the images, you see that the images are 6,000 images, or sorry, 60,000 images. And each image has been preconditioned to be a vector or a matrix of size 28 by 28. If you
Parag,
look at, yeah.
sorry, could you just enlarge the thing, and because it might be hard for people to see on phone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there are 60,000 images of size 28 by 28. There are corresponding 60,000 labels. If you look at what the train labels contain, they contain numbers, which says that, this first image is a 5. Let's look at what those images are. So look at the first image. You see that it looks like this. Okay. This is a 5, but if you try to detect is it a 5 using normal programming methods, it's really hard. There's a line out here, there's a curve out here, and it's really hard to have, like, what is it, what in this makes it a 5? And there are, to understand our data set, let's take a look at some other 5s. I know that there is a 5 at index 11. So if you do the same thing by saying, you see that there is another 5 looking out here, and writing a computer program to train this is what we want to do next. So given that we have all our images and they have supervised labels, somebody has gone through all the images and labeled them to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. So the first thing we do out here is to normalize your data set. And normalization is basically taking the image set, something that you see out here, and all these images go from 0 to 255 for every pixel. You can see that something is gray, something is white. We want to normalize it so that they go between 0 and 1. And the normalization process is strictly not necessary, but in terms of the underlying backpropagation functions and the optimization process that goes into training it, it becomes much more controllable and much more it converges faster. So that's what we want to do here. And then let's define our model. Now there's a lot of jargon with TensorFlow in there, but what this is basically saying is I want to create a network, a model, which has got 1, 2, 3 layers. The first layer is an input shape, which takes an input vector of 28 times 28. That's the input. There is a dense layer, which has got 128. Now, this number can vary depending upon how many how much of information you want to really process or extract from your training set. And the last layer is 10, because we have 10 digits that come out. And there are some things called activations out there, which decide what kind of nonlinear outputs that you want to generate in your neural network at each layer. This is a ReLU, or a rectified linear unit. The last one is a softmax. And this is normally what you learn in a 101 course on AI or machine learning or neural networks when you start your journey in this. But yeah, that is a model that you create. Let's then,
Parag, can I have a question here?
Yeah.
If do you mind explaining why do you need the different layers, and does adding these layers have an effect on the output, and what are the parameters, like minimum and maximum parameters that one could provide, especially
Yeah,
just in this model?
yeah. So the layers are really, this is where your experience and your understanding of neural networks comes in after you've played around a lot. Because given a new problem that you want to solve, you want to make sure that you have enough of a definition on an architecture for your neural network so that it can really have all the dimensionality needed to solve the problem. The more complex the problem is, the more variance you have in your data set, you probably need more layers in the middle. How you come across an optimal layer is still somebody's guess. I mean, it's still not well understood as to what is the most optimal. You can empirically say, okay, let me start with like 3 layers. Does it solve my problem? Yes, it does. Can I reduce it down to 2 layers? No, I can't. I need at least 3 layers. I need an intermediate layer. If it doesn't solve my problem, do I increase my layers? And does it give me more dimensionality in terms of solving it? So for instance, in this case, I'm just deciding on how to get digits, and therefore numbers is probably enough. But if you include the entire alphabet along with the letters, along with all kinds of, maybe Devanagari characters and other, language characters in the mix, then it's going to be you need to have much more complexity to your network. You probably need like, maybe 5, 6, 7 layers in the middle to be able to,
Mhm.
to do
And you can
universally
just
do
add
everything.
them here, right?
You can just
You
add
can
them,
just
Marcus.
Yeah.
So you would probably, after this line, you would probably just add another line with a dimensionality of how many neurons you want in there. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay,
that is that comes about with a lot more like understanding what is the problem you want to solve at hand. This next one is setting up your loss function and your how do you want to evaluate your network. So the optimizer that I'm using for my backpropagation is ADAM, which is the adaptive moments, and there are various other ways in mathematics. We know about gradient descents, we know of conjugate gradients, and so you can decide what optimizer you want to get to your optimization or to your training to resolve your training. The loss function here, I mean, it says sparse categorical cross entropy, which all that means is I'm going to use a conditional probability dependent on entropy to figure out the higher the output, that's the possibility that is the right answer. And so once you've set up your network, you set up your how you want to get your training set up with an optimizer and loss functions, then you can start your training. Now, in this training, the parameters I'm giving it are the input images for training, the supervised labels that a human has interpreted. For example, interpreting that this is a 5 and saying it's a 5 for all the 60,000 images, and the number of epochs. Epochs are basically rounds or runs. Because my computer or my laptop right now is very limited in terms of its processing power, I can't do everything in one epoch. I might need more epochs, because then it breaks up the training data into 5 sets, and each set is trained on its own. So for instance, now if I run it, you'll see that in epoch 1, it's training and going towards, and you can see that the loss is decreasing. Epoch 2, you can see that the accuracy is increasing and the loss is decreasing now. It's gone from a 0.5, 0.6 earlier to a 0.0 something. And the goal of all this exercise is to make sure that the accuracy is going higher and the loss is going lower. So now we have got training. It seems like a good result because the loss has traditionally gone down. Will it go down to zero? No. But as long as it's going down to a definitive small value, that's what you need. So now let's see what it has done, right? So the next thing I want to do is set up an index, and I'm going to look at what my test images are. So if I look at my first test image, right? My first test image is a 7, right? And I want to know what my data set did, my training set did now in its prediction. And if I asked it to predict what my training set is, what training has done, you will see that it says after running an inference that the number is 7. Let's take another example. So let me take a random number 41, which is the index. That's the 41st image in my training set. And if you look at what this image looks like, this image is a 7 again, but it's a different looking 7. So if you look at what the, oops, not training, I want to go to what it says it's a 7. Let's try something which is not a 7. Let's take an index 62 and plot it. Show this is a different one. This looks like a 9. And let's see what it predicts it as. Train. Yeah, the prediction for that is a 9. So this shows that the process worked. Yeah, so this is a simple training example, but it shows you how you take your data, precondition it into 28 by 28 matrix, and go about the training setup. Let me pause here to see how people have digested this. Again, if it's like something you've done already, it's very simple. You can probably add more comments and perspectives to what you've just seen for other people. If you have questions, let's take a pause and answer any.
This is very interesting, Parag. Thanks for sharing this as to how to train a model. So, most people are engineers here, so that's why Parag is showing it from the coding perspective. But you could also do some of it through creative prompts. So any questions you have? I think today people are not into asking questions. Okay. How does it work in the backend? How does it work when we are combining images using AI? Are you asking about the training model, or are you asking just how does the LLMs work? And please speak up, guys. If you like, go ahead and unmute yourself and speak up.
Yeah, this is a small room here, so please unmute yourself to ask questions. No worries.
So, so I think Priyank, you posted that somebody asked, how does it work in the backend? Are you asking about what Parag showed right now?
It's Dhanashri.
I
Dhanashri.
assume yes. So it was like, how does it work in the backend? And like, how does, like, if we are using the same methodology, like, how does it work when like we are using something like what you showed, right? While creating images, we give them 2 images and ask it to combine it. So like, how do we piece this neural network to what the output is there? Like, how does it work in the background? It seems like a black box to me.
Yeah, so right now, actually, so for the problem that you created, you need a different kind of network. The network I showed you was a fully connected network with 1 or 3 layers. Now, if you want to give generative stuff, then you need to be able to have a generative network. And generative networks are again of different kinds. There is a regressive networks, auto-regressive networks. There are auto encoders. So the simplest one of a generative network would be something where you take uh, like I showed you, like, there are 3 layers. You would add like maybe, let's say 6 layers, and all the 6 layers start with 128 nodes, then 64 nodes, and 32 nodes, and maybe up to maybe 16 nodes. And then from the 16 nodes, you build up another connected layer, which goes from 16 back to 32 to 64 to 128 again. So now you're taking a 128 input vector, and you're producing an output 128 vector, but in the process, you're going down to combining what is the exact information that is necessary to get it down to 16 units and go back up again. And for these networks, you probably give an input of one image and the output is the same image. And by that, it tries to predict what is the information I need to extract from this image to be able to predict it using a vector of 16. And you do that for all the images that you have in a data set. So once that's done, you can then take the first part and just remove it, and you have a 16 vector that goes out to a 128 vector, which can be your generative part. So you put in a random 16-bit number out there, it'll give you an output that is going to be something that is relevant in the space of your data set that you have. Yeah, I think it's better explained by drawing and creating the networks. But yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think
Thanks, Parag.
there is
Go ahead.
someone who has unmuted themselves but are not able to speak.
Who is it?
Just a second. Okay.
Anybody unmuted?
All right.
Do you want to type it in then?
Sure. Guys, please write your questions if you have any. Okay.
So thanks, Parag, for this. Dhanashri, when you and I were talking about, like, how scary AI can be and how realistic images are, would you like to talk about and share what you did with Google Nano?
Yes, sure. So,
While we're waiting for more questions to come up, yeah, please take the
Definitely.
screen and share.
Yeah. So, as Smita showed earlier, AI isn't just great for creative prompts, and as Parag showed, it is not just great for classification and like prediction. It can also act as your own personal Photoshop. I will just show what I have been experimented so far. I wouldn't be able to give you the in-depth knowledge like Parag mentioned. But yeah, so I don't know if you've noticed, these days my LinkedIn is filled with people posting pictures, meeting their idols, whether it is Virat Kohli or whether it is Michelle Obama or Barack Obama, and all of these pictures are extremely believable. And like earlier, a few years ago, in order to post these pictures, you actually had to run into them. But right now, it's all AI. And it's extremely believable because, it's a very blurry photo. It is able to, capture the lighting, the exact expression. Like it doesn't feel like, it is copy pasted. Like here you can see the light falling off his shoulder and stuff like that. So it is extremely realistic. And it's really exciting how technology has come so far, and it wasn't possible a few years with the previous iterations of AI, because right now it is able to preserve the person's pose, preserve the person's expressions, and able to identify the angles, the lightings, the background, the pixelation, etc., etc., to give something that is really believable and something that can actually fool most of us. So I wanted to just showcase some of the experiments that I did so far with all of you, and just showcase what you can do with AI these days. So this is just like my chat excerpt with Google Nano Banana. So I just gave it a prompt of a woman wearing UCI hoodie, and I asked it to replace the text UCI and the Anteater logo with IITB and IITB logo. So it did it exactly. And the best part about it is it retained the exact expressions. It retained the exact the logo and lighting, everything, and it created a very believable photo for me. So if we start spamming you with a lot of IIT merch, you know where it is coming from. And then with this photo, now Google Nano Banana is able to do multiple things. So what Parag was saying, that you can give it multiple images and you can put it together, and that is something that you can see here. I want this person to wear a Birkin bag and a UCLA cap. Now this Birkin bag is $97,000. So getting it for a photo shoot with an IITB hoodie might be a little difficult for most of us, but not for Google Nano Banana. And I was able to put all of them together and make it extremely believable. You see that her hand is showing the Birkin bag. You can see the shadows and everything. And Parag, maybe after this, you can tell us that how does it fit with the neural networks that you were talking about. Like I would love to understand the back end of this. And then
You could have used your picture rather than this generic picture.
yeah. And then the next thing I did was, I asked Nano Banana to make her sit in one of the chairs in like a European cafe and combine this photo with another person. And the one thing that you should add in all of your prompt is, keeping consistent lighting perspective with everyone smiling naturally. This is the prompt with permutation and combination that has worked well for me. And you can see that, this person is sitting with the other person. Both of them were standing in the original photo, but now they are sitting in the same environment, but with a different thing, and both of them have a coffee in hand, though her Birkin bag is still here. Yeah. So it incredibly simple. You can tweak small things in the photos and design and make creative in minutes. And the best part is that it doesn't take a lot of writing big prompts and everything. All it needs is creativity, and it has become extremely easy for people to create ad creators. For example, I gave it a starting photo of a woman holding a shampoo and asked it to replace the shampoo with the Vico toothpaste. And now we know that it can create really high quality images for ads. So that is all I
Oh,
have.
the ad makers are scared now.
Yes, yes.
And but the copyrights went enough. So while I love that Bhagwati is on the floor, Zindagi na mile dobara Lakshman. So while you were saying, I also played with one of the images you had sent me. So let me show you guys. I wanted to share this. So this is an image. Yes, this is an image that um, Dhanashri did it with, and Pradyuman did it with Google Nano Banana. So I wanted to change it because Obama is not looking at me. And I said, change the following picture to show that I'm having a conversation with Barack Obama. And I asked it and see what it provided. Now I can post this on my LinkedIn. But hey, at our conference, we had Barack Obama. So just wanted to share that. Thanks, Dhanashri, for getting me on it. Any questions, guys? So that's scary part of Google Gemini, but it's also something that you guys can do.
I do
Parag, do you want to
see,
show how to do videos? Yeah, sorry.
I do see a question from Vishal. Hey, Vishal, do you want to unmute yourself?
Vishal is asking, how can we protect our data from AI LLMs using our personal data for training? Parag, would you like to answer it?
You are on mute, Parag.
Oh, so the question is, how can we protect our data from AI LLMs using our personal data for training. Okay, so this is a loaded question, and I think there's the jury on how other laws and rules on how you can avoid or what's going to happen is still out. It's not done yet. There are lawsuits flying left, right, and center between companies because a lot of the data that was used by some of the people, some of the models to train have been, either copyrighted or have been without permission, and so that's a problem. And so I think on the one hand, you can't protect it right now unless you take your own precautions of not putting it in public places or on the internet for others to see and use. But you can't do that, right? Because you're going to put what you want on Instagram, on Facebook, and so on and so forth. But the other side of it is as and this is I'm speaking, from my own views. This is not anyone's view or my employer's view or anything. But as far as when people want to use it, you need to be very careful about what you use and how you want to, and for what purpose you're using it. Because if you use a model that has been trained on data for which it has got no rights, or the company had no rights or did not, and thereby does not give you full indemnity on the usage of that, then yet it will open you to liability for having used it. If you can make a connection between what the input data set is and what the output generated data is, which itself is not easy. But if you can show that, for instance, like, if somebody posts a photograph of like what Dhanashree was showing of Dhanashree and maybe Tom Cruise going on in some public setting, and then then that starts to have any material value, people are selling it, and people get to know that you can be liable and that person can be coming after you. So yeah, it's not easy to protect yourself, um, but I think, and you should take your own precautions if you feel that some image that you want to put out there is something that is important to you and you don't want to be exposed to training sets. But as a user by themselves, they also have to be very careful about the exposure to liability.
So we can put a copyright symbol in your image or something like that people, but AI can filter that out too. So
So what about the picture with Obama? Let's say Obama doesn't want to be at AI and we posted him that he was there. What would be
then
the
we
repercussions of it?
will be sued or something. People will come after us.
The repercussions of this are if Obama doesn't want it and he doesn't think very highly of IITs, then he's going to come after you for the photograph. Why I wasn't there, and you're making use of it for your own publicity. That's a problem. And we
So
as
one more thing,
yeah,
one
go ahead.
more thing for us, you might want to say is that the free version, whenever you use the free version of and this is for the people who are just starting with AI in this, is the free versions of any LLMs use your data, whatever you provided. However, when you have the paid version, depending upon how much paid you have, you can ask it to protect your data. Just wanted to mention it for the people who are very new to LLMs and usage.
Yeah, I mean, if you get an enterprise version of something like GPT-5 or something, then by definition, they are protecting whatever you're uploading for usage to not be used in a general setting of training afterwards. Uh, but for the free versions, whatever you upload is data that they can use for their purposes.
And most companies, they have their own proprietary private cloud so that when they use the LLMs and they've loaded it up there, it's just for them. It's not being shared generally across the internet, but also the paid version for single people too. Another question is there.
Should we be worried about personal data being used for training only? Can it be considered against the user against the user lawfully? Questions asked in the evaluation. Yeah. Again, I think the discussion we had on the question that was prior to this applies here also.
Roop, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Basically, how reliable these models are to when generating the data in certain formats. For example, if I want to use this in a processing pipeline, I have some free description coming in natural language from somewhere, and I want it in, let's say, certain formats. They could be in JSON or PBF, or they could be in some spec that generate the result in that, so that becomes a valid input for my processing pipeline. So is that happening, or is far-fetched?
No, it's not far-fetched. It is happening. In fact,
Okay.
the more specific you get with formats and data, the better it works.
Okay.
So for instance, like, I know of examples where you could have, let's say, you're analyzing speech, right? And you have a processing unit that takes speech data that needs to be processed into somewhere. If you convert speech to a text file that is a JSON file or some kind of a format that you want, whatever the output of the thing will go into that format, and you can process it in a way that you want to. That the format will be definitely respected, but what comes as data in that format, that is dependent on the accuracy of the model.
So the knowledge embedded in the format can vary based on the model.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Parag, can we show them video prompting? Like the prompts for creating a video, like we talked about as one of the things before we did
Yeah,
the training, but we forgot. I think we skipped
I
over
think I
that.
forgot.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen.
While Parag is coming up with this, we can also ask any of the LLMs to say, like, give me marketing slogans I want for my product or anything like that. So just play with it. It'll be so much fun. Okay. Here.
Let's see. So this is Google's Vertex AI Studio, which has got Imagine, which is a generative image thing. There's a video, a VO. So let's take VO. Hold on. I need to switch this. Hang on a second. Let me stop sharing and make sure I have the right settings here for a moment.
Okay, while Parag is doing this, I wanted to just share one more thing with people while Parag is trying to figure out what to do here is, if you guys want to see what are the different tools you can use, like he said, Vertex and stuff, this is the program called po.com, and you just sign in and free, and you see what are the search bots, what are image generation, what can you use for video generation. There are just a lot of them over there, and you could use some of them for free, okay? So it's called po.com that you can use. That's one of the ones that I use to find out what is the best application for something. Okay. Parag?
One second. My permissions thing is.
So with so many tools actually available, it's like we have to do our own comparisons, correct? That what works best for us. And maybe today, actually, let's say the model 1 was not that good, but model 2 is better. We started using model 2, but the model 1's new iteration is better than model 2. Then we have to switch to that, correct? Like provider 1, provider 2.
Right. So like ChatGPT 4.40 was very, very successful, and then ChatGPT 5 came. So they keep refining the models with the training. So you basically have to try different models and see which ones works best. And I feel that most people are using OpenAI's ChatGPT a lot and Gemini a lot to do stuff because those are the most popular ones out there. And Claude is a little bit more scientific as well as gives you the code also what you need to. So a little bit more technical minded folks use that a lot more. But again, one thing you have to be sure using this LLMs is that it may give you wrong information. So you have to be sure that you check it. We keep saying that. You have to be sure that you do your own check, and we call it human in the loop, right? So we have to make sure that whatever you are getting, you personalize it. And if you just cut and paste and send it in an email, people will realize that it is AI because there are certain nuances that people have become used to as to what ChatGPT always puts, like it puts a dash instead of like, it'll always use the word like instead of such as, and things like that people can generate. So as you use more and more, you will find out what works best for you and how you should put yourself a personalized way of saying. You could also give it like, use my tone and my language and give it like say an audio file or something else to use that it can start using it, or give a sample of what you write and say use my kind of tone in order to generate an email. So you can play with that. Does that
Okay, so I
answer your
got,
Yeah,
okay.
it does answer the question. I have another question. My neural network and deep learning class is like at least 10 years old now. So I've forgotten most of it. But I do remember that you can actually customize a shipped neural network to your training data by training additionally.
Yes.
So can you do the similar layer on top of LLMs, vendor LLMs? Like modify the vendor
so
LLM's behavior to suit your application.
yeah, so you can, yes, you can, but you wouldn't do it in a way you're saying it, where you want to take a neural network and then put another like a transfer learning layer on top and ship it, because LLMs by themselves are so large. What you would do is have some kind of a cloud architecture where you can access LLMs, but talk to them via a RAG, like a retrieval augmented generation, or even something today which is like a model context protocol, which can open up your data sources to the LLM, so it can go and query those data sources and come up with something more topical for that pertains to your particular data set.
I see. Okay.
So I got my setup going. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is Google's Vertex Studio, and this is the Veo 3 latest model. So let me type in a prompt. Let's say we can, what do you want to put in? Let's
of you
generate
riding a horse?
a video of, no, I want to say something which can, you can see something which is natural that you expect, and in the Sundarbans of India, the video should show small tiger cubs being cared for and a few humans in the background admiring the scene. So let's play that. This takes a few, maybe a minute or so, because videos are.
Today I got a lot of errors too. Go Gemini and ChatGPT.
But then, yeah, this should work. It will give you like 4 options with videos. But the thing I wanted to try is, let's flip that aside, and we know that there are tigers in the Sundarbans of India. So let's see how realistic it generates something. If you've been to Sundarbans, you can relate. But I also want to see the context of, whether it's giving small tiger cubs that are being cared for. How realistic is this setup with tigers? And what kinds of humans does it show? If it's in something in India, then I would expect people with an Indian background being shown. But No, not necessarily, but like, there are so many variable parameters out here that from a creative perspective that would matter.
There is a question asked by Nareen Bansal, like who owns the copyright to a generated output by an LLM?
So if you're using who owns the copyright, so if you generated it, you want to own it, but you have to be careful about how, as long as you have cleared all the rights for it. Since it's generated this video, let's just go through them. So this is the first one. Do you guys hear audio?
No,
Oh, maybe I have to share it with
you have
audio.
to
Okay.
share the audio. You have to go and turn something on.
Let
It
me
says
share
live
again.
performance audio on the top.
Share sound, optimize video during sharing. Okay. Okay, here it is. All right, so let's try that again. So it looks like the Sundarbans. It looks like whatever I asked for. Here are some people very close by.
This is amazing, seeing them so close. Shh, let's not disturb them.
So it's generated audio and also along with it. But an interesting fact is let's do something which doesn't exist. So let's generate a video of tigers walking not in the Sundarbans, but in the Sarang.
So Parag, you might want to answer why it gave 4 different videos, even though you asked for just one video.
Oh, it generates different 4 options. The setting is for 4. It can generate more if you want. It generate only 1 if you want. Normally, when you're going through some iterative process of generating videos, you need to, there's so many different ways, right? I can also give him, I want the camera moving from left to right, top to bottom, camera zooming in. So depending upon your storytelling or whatever kind of video you want to generate, you can have various options. So it generates 4 options by default in my settings out here.
And then, you see in the last one, the lady is wearing kurta pajama is basically showing that it's India, Sundarbans, India. Just it takes those little nuances too.
So now let's see what it does, because we know that they're not tigers in the Serengetis of Africa. The point I'm trying to make is the videos that have been used for training for all these foundational world models are actual videos of like, lots and lots of videos from YouTube, for example. But somehow you can now interpolate across all those videos and take something that looks realistic in one region and put it in another region or generate something more. It's all interpolation in the end, in a very very, very high dimension. But yeah. I mean, that you could generate a video is mind-boggling. That you can generate a video which doesn't exist or can be imagined is another thing. So if you took like, the image of, because you can upload an image also in this to start with if you want. So you could have probably uploaded the image that Smita showed you of her being a superhero and then created a video where she defies gravity or gravity changes every 3 minutes in this city. So there you go.
I'm a mind reader, so I will stand next to you and read your mind and get you to do all the stuff. This is beautiful.
Yeah. So that's a way of video generation for you.
Vertex AI asks credit card info. Yeah, so then stay away. Go to po.com and see which ones are free, and then you could try something. And once you are really good at it, then you can go for the ones that are paid versions. Um, Vishal, you can also answer this question, the one that you asked. Using AIs, are there LLM Gen AI tools that are better used on your own laptop and not on the cloud? Or Parag, you
Wha-
can answer it.
Yeah, I can tell you my feelings of it because it really depends on any model that you want to run for inference has going to have a compute cost. If the compute cost is attainable by a local device on that is closer to your edge, then yeah, by most definitely you want to use it that way because if you're doing 1,000 inferences per second, you want to have that happen on a machine that's closer to you. But LLMs are so big in terms of their compute that you it's having a large machine that you can run queries again and again. That's an expensive proposition, and therefore running that in the cloud makes more sense where you have better architectures of machines to run.
So Sharad was asking, how can AI help automate complex data transformation and complex workflows involving multiple systems? I'm saying just try it. Ask AI how to help you with a couple of questions, or if you want to add more info. I mostly just ask AI to LLMs to help me if I'm looking for something. Is how should I go about doing this? And I get the
Um,
answer then.
those don't normally work. I mean, from my experience, if you really want to get something useful, you need to understand the task at hand and the systems that you want to design very well. So you can break them down into very, very small components, knowing what each component does, defining them very accurately. And once you get more and more accurate, then you can get some, very constructive uh, outputs that you can probably end up using. So for instance, if you want to go and design me a trading system for Wall Street, it's not going to be able to do it. But if you can break down the trading system, what it means in terms of a web interface, in terms of what you want the UI to look, in terms of a backend, and what you want the server to do, in terms of the server protocols that you want to use, then you might get something more constructive that starts being useful. Exactly your use case. See, I think I was the superhero who understood telepathy.
You have to have the power in real life too, right? But yeah, uh, great. So if there are no more questions, shall we wrap up, Tanishri and Priyank?
Yeah, let's see. We still have 20 people in the room. Anyone has any questions for Smita, Parag, and Dhanashri on the things we saw today?
Can you hear me? Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
So Parag, we have these stable diffusion and flux models versus these Google models like Banana and Viewer for generating these videos.
Uh-huh.
So why do these differences exist? What is the difference between the two? The one that I know is Google can generate the audio along with those videos, but then it does not offer the control that you would expect that stable diffusion and flux offers. And so it looks like stable diffusion and flux has like specific purposes compared to like banana and view as such over there. So why do those two exist like from Google over there, or how are they used in industry?
That's a good question. I mean, I know that stable diffusion is a very different process of how you generate uh, any kind of generative technique using the way stable diffusion works is using Markov random chains and random noise. It
Yeah,
it maps real data to noise,
yeah,
and then when you have done that effectively, then you can generate from a given noise pattern. You can start generating something that looks looks like what you want to generate. And those systems work very differently to like, the traditional neural networks of auto-regression or even like Nano Banana. And I think both have their advantages. The point that you mentioned that, you can generate sound with one and not with it, that's just you should be able to do that with both.
So what's the industrial differences for the usages? Like in the animation world, film, games, is it like the models like Google that has produced are used, or it's more towards like Stable Diffusion and Flux are being more useful, or they both have their own usages?
I think they both have their own uses. What Stable Diffusion XL does is you can, it has the power of probably having more control in an iterative step. So if you use something like, Comfy UI, which
Yeah,
comes with Stable Diffusion models, you can iterate on them on a node by node architecture basis that you've defined, where the output of one, where you're generating the background, can be fed into the input of the other, where you want to generate a foreground tree and then composite it, and then, the process goes on. So
right.
finally, when you want to iterate on the final product you're generating, if it's, let's say you don't want this tree, you want some other tree, you can go to that node which is generating a tree and then modify some parameters to generate a new kind of tree that you want. Um, and so I think in the creative process, at least in the in the animation, film, or any creative industry, the iteration and the directability of how you can control that iteration, it's important. In some industries, like, where you just want to, or for like, general usage, where you want a figure of, or an image of Virat Kohli next to you, you really do not, you really don't want to control, like, is he smiling, is he not smiling, is he angry, is he taller than you, shorter than you, all those kinds of things.
Right. So one last question on this. So we see these videos generated by Google or Meta or even OpenAI that they shows are generally of a very particular length, and we celebrate the more lengthier videos that it generates. Generally, those are clips of certain seconds so far, or maybe hardly a few minutes right now. Is like, what is the is still attention being the reason that those clips are limited, as in, or context sizes or the stuff? Or what is the limitation over there?
Great question. So there are I think, two or three things come to mind. Okay, one is the longer the videos you generate, more is the
Mhm.
complete. So that's expensive, right? And
Yes.
if you're iterating and you want to get like, 12 different outputs to choose from, generating 4-second videos of 12 different outputs and then deciding which one you want to generate a 12-second video after that is probably better than generating 12-second 12-second, iterate 12-second videos with a number of iterations, which is quite a bit of compute that's wasted. Um, the second thing is, yeah, the longer you go away from time zero, the attention-based architectures will go more towards lack of attention, not lack of attention, but more randomization, which
Right,
might lead to outputs which are not what you want.
right.
So it's both, I think.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pradnam. I see a question from Sharad. Um, Sharad, do you want to unmute yourself? Maybe he has left.
No, I think my question was answered. Thank you.
Oh, it was answered. Okay. So I think there is no more questions here, unless I missed anyone. One last call. All right. Let's thank our speakers, Mita, Parag, and Dhanashri, for this great, amazing session today. Thank you for your time, and all the participants for this very interactive, engaging session. Thank you for giving your Saturday to us, and having us all grow in this new technology As you all know, and Dhanashri rightly pointed out, this is a vibrant community of IITians in Southern California, and this team has been doing a fabulous job of bringing us the topics of our interest. So currently we have 4 tracks. We have technology track, we have investment, financial, entrepreneurship, all together, those combined. We have the social track, where we are doing our picnics and Diwali events. Hopefully, we'll do a boat event soon. We are thinking about that to see if we can get on a nice boat and enjoy each other's company. All of these are on our mind. And then also a leadership track or professional development track to help us find our true potential, and even extend it to its limit. As we say, for IITians, sky is the limit, and let's make it happen that way. So please do provide your feedback on any of these topics and any talk that you would like to give and share with this community. We are always looking for speakers, especially the track in entrepreneurship, which Shashi launched with his 3-part workshop. I think we have several people who have started their companies. We would like to know their journey. It could be a podcast, it could be a webinar, whichever way you want to share your journey and provide inspiration to our young people to follow your path. We are open to that. So with this, I would like to thank you all for coming and stay connected with us. Please stay here. Turn on your camera, as I'm hearing from Dhanashri. Let's take a picture. So please help take this nice picture. Turn on your cameras. Dhanashri, are you taking a picture?
Just waiting for people to turn on their cameras. I think,
Should have announced a bit earlier.
yeah, it was my mistake. That's all right. Let me just take it for, our memories. So everybody please smile. Just a second. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dhanashri,
Thank
for this great session, and see you at the Diwali party on October
Thank you.
26th.
Bye.
Looking
Thank you, everyone. It was
forward.
fun.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks.